Welcome to Awakening You channel. If you appreciate what we do, please support us. Thank you. Dear ones, I am Archangel Michael. Another week ends. Many here with hearts jumping, others with hearts tight, worried, discouraged. My brothers, I have been saying this for some time now, that nothing is by chance. Nothing you go through is by chance. I must agree that many lessons are not easy, the vast majority of them are not. Because it's like I said here, you often have the lesson in your hands, but you don't recognize it as such, and you let it pass without making any analysis or interchange. So that apparently was resolved, you even forgot about the problem, but it comes back, and comes back a little stronger. And so it happens successively until you are placed against the wall. It's that moment when the lesson is so strong, so profound, that there is no longer any way to say, no, I'm not going to think about that. You have to think, because that really became an obstacle, either you move out of the way or you will stay behind the wall. So my brothers, what is happening across the planet is a very big lesson. Many cannot see, many can only think that this is all a big political maneuver. Why do you think like that? That everything revolves around politics? My brothers, the High One does not see politics, the High sees souls, so nothing that happens is determined from above to harm anyone. I'm going to have to say that phrase again, each of you reaps what you sow, each ruler reaps what he sows, each citizen reaps what he sows, in the broad spectrum of the word, harvest. So what's the point of getting upset, yelling at everyone around you, blaming them for a situation they didn't create? They were not the ones who created this situation. So why are you going to yell at those around you, or why are you going to get angry? At this moment these feelings are heightened, all the feelings on the planet at this moment are heightened. Why? Because you are going through a process of extreme attention, a process of complete change, a process in which for the first time there is no difference between rich, poor, ruler, citizen, everyone is in the same boat, there is no difference. So realize that it is a balanced process. But then some will say, no, it's not balanced because there are places where thousands of people are dying. And then I will remember what I said before, you continue to see only what you are today. So I'm going to tell you a little story here. Once upon a time there was a country, no it didn't start as a country, I'm going to redo the story. Once upon a time there was a small village. It was a very happy village, made up only of families or very close friends, who all decided to live close by, so they could help themselves. Very good. This atmosphere of happiness spread around the world and other people thought, I'm going there too, because it's a good place, with good energy, a lot of happiness. So we're going there too. And so that town grew, attracting all kinds of people, because at this time when growth begins, it attracts people who want to maintain that balance, but also people who want to take advantage of the good faith of those who are there. All kinds of people. But this town grew, over time people married each other and thousands of children were born, and everyone lived close to each other, this town grew and grew. So from that first family or those first families, who decided to set foot there, at that moment an egregore was created, of happiness, of love, of friendship, and each family that got closer there increased that egregore in the same feeling. And as time went by, the town grew, the egregore also grew, but it diversified. Because some were sad, some were angry, some were hateful, some were vibrating with revenge, and each one was creating an egregore of feelings of the same vibration. So that united, perfect family, which started that whole process, today no longer lived completely in an environment, energetically speaking, of happiness, because there was already a lot of mixed feelings there. Above that town or that city there were several types of egregores. And so that city grew. Many people thought it best to control all of that, because otherwise growth would be unfeasible. It was necessary to think about food, water, everything necessary for a people to survive. Then they began to elect some people who had greater ability to speak, and that would be the manager of that entire village. Today you changed the name, but back then you were the ones who commanded everything. Many thought about the people, they did everything for the people, there was no discrimination. Everything that was harvested was divided among the whole, no one went hungry, everyone had their share. Everyone worked together to keep the city clean and organized, no mess allowed. Everything was very balanced, in other words, it was practically a perfect city. Even having those feelings that are not visible to the naked eye. There was always the one who emanated anger, the one who was up front doing something. I didn't want to get up from my chair to do it, I envied the position of the person in charge. Very good. So this grew over time, and those feelings of low vibration also grew, until one day one of those stood up and began to oppose the orders of the one who was so balanced, showing that everything there could be better, that people didn't need to be so organized. There could be a little disorder, so that people could be more free. And then the political dispute begins. Who convinces the most, who the people really want to follow, who the people think is the best for that village. Very good. This is a fictional story, but it happened on your planet of all places. And then the cities grew. Various types of rulers passed through there, and those egregors were always growing. Because the more inhabitants, more people emanating feelings, so the egregors become proportionally larger, as the cities grow. Very good. Then there is always someone who looks at the horizon and thinks, wow, my city is very small, that city there has no borders, no barriers, no one to protect them, so I'm going to invade that city, I'm going to take it for myself. And so he did. Those who agreed with the submission of a new government remained alive, those who fought against it died. Because the important thing was to increase their power, to increase their lands. And as there was looting in this environment, their coffers also increased, and so many cities became enormous at the cost of the blood of other cities dominated by them, of other cities practically decimated by them, so that they could take the land. The people didn't matter, the land mattered, how many kilometers that power had in its hands. And this has been happening since the world has been around, since the first civilizations were created here on this planet. To this day, you still have wars over territorial disputes. This has not changed. So let's think a little, much further back, when this all started, it's like I said at the beginning of the story, the egregors were forming. And over time, each country, because at a certain point in its history the figure of the country was created, surrounded by borders, by its own laws, by everything that you know as a country today. So each country has a history, each country has a journey, of struggle, of liberation, of domination, it doesn't matter, each country has a journey. So in thousands of years, all emanating, what do you think these egregors above these countries are? What do you think? That they are a ball that someone goes there with a pin, bursts and the egregor disappears? No, the egregor does not disappear. So I can tell you one thing, each soul reaps what it sows, each soul has its own little egregors that walk along with it, returning everything it emanated. It can be returned, in this life, in the next life, there is no time, it will be returned when the soul is ready to receive that lesson. And so do countries. Each country has its history, each country has its path of conquest, glory, domination, or submission. So it doesn't matter who passes through that soil, it matters that everyone who passes there, that each soul that passes there contributes to those egregors. I'm going to remember something I said here a while ago, in which you carry little packages from your ancestors. So there's no point in shouting, I have nothing to do with this, I wasn't even alive at that time. Yes, you weren't alive, but is your soul where it was, and your ancestors, that you carry their little packages? So there is no point in thinking that because you were born now, you are clean and pure. You carry the heritage of your ancestors, they are there, it's that baggage that your soul carries, apart from the soul's own lessons. So no one is pure, no one is free from crops. Whoever is here in Tercera, plants and harvests, there's no way around it. Unless you were saints, and if you were saints you would not be incarnated, Even those, who arrived recently, who are living here in Tercera, are totally involved in Tercera, practicing all sorts of feelings from the third, despite being evolved souls. So, will everything they are doing here be erased at the time of evolution? Of course not. No one will have a clean record at the time of evolution. Ah, why did you pass on to the fifth? Everything you did in the past died. No, 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 you will continue your walk. And that's what I already said, going to Quinta is not a guarantee of staying there. If you think the lessons here are difficult, don't even imagine what it will be like there. Just, to bring a little comfort, I would say to you, that you will not have the medium interfering with you. There will be no fear, there will be no anger, because if you vibrate this, you will be gently invited back to Tercera, somewhere, not here on this planet anymore. So my brothers, nothing goes unnoticed. The journey of the soul when it evolves, everything it did continues with it, nothing is erased. And in the same way, it is a country, in the same way, those lands have a history, which can be beautiful or can be very ugly. So don't interpret it as a big punishment, when some countries are having more difficulty with this disease than others. I can tell you that these countries are reaping what they sowed, someday along the way. And those souls that are there are not there for nothing, they did not end up there by lot. They are there because they carry the weight of their ancestors, they carry all this burden of what was done behind them. So everyone is in the right place at the right time. The soul chooses where it will incarnate, knowing what will come, nothing is hidden. You forget when you incarnate, but the soul knows exactly the path that awaits it. No soul incarnates deceived. There is no such feeling, it's all very clear, very true. And the soul knows exactly what will happen and often it prepares the entire path for it. So don't keep creating wild theories, why this, why that. Every point on this planet has a story, and as such it reaps what it sows. It's very simple. So back to the beginning of our video. The big lesson right now is knowing how to go through this entire process. You are living something you have never experienced, none of you have experienced anything like this in your entire existence. So you have to know how to go through this lesson, because I tell you, it is a very important lesson. And each of you is being very well analyzed in the stance you are taking in relation to what is happening. Anger, revolt, aggression, violence will lead you nowhere, you will just be signing that agreement that you are a Tercera soul, and as such you want to continue as you are. So think carefully about the actions you are taking. This is a moment of solidarity, of thinking about others. This thinking about others is the biggest problem, because many don't understand. Why do I have to be arrested? Does nothing justify this? Yeah, keep thinking like that. And later on, when you need a place to get treatment and there isn't, you'll cry for nothing. Because right now you're not thinking about others, you're only thinking about yourself. You need all the structure around you. You need to have light, you need to have water, you need to have food to buy. Does this all happen by itself? No, there are people who need to be there for you to receive all of this. So let's say they don't have much of a choice. So let's put as few people as possible on the street, so that those people who are there for you, if they get sick, have a way to be taken care of. Now if you think this is all nonsense and that everyone should be on the street, fine. Later on, if you get infected, you may not have a place to fall, and then you will remember the bad decision you made not to stay at home. My brothers, I repeat again, there is a very big lesson there. Some have already noticed, some are practically aware, 100% of everything that is happening. Then there are people thinking like this, and why don't you tell us? No, this is your growth. If I get here and simply tell you everything, how will you evolve? How are you going to transform these bad feelings that you are feeling into good feelings? Ah, but if you explained it to us it would be easier. Ah, ease, you always want everything very easy, thinking takes work, yes, thinking takes work. No, if many have the ability to understand what is happening, it is because they have an evolved heart, an open heart, a heart based on love. If you can't understand, look inside yourself, and see what you are emanating. Because if you can't see it, you must only be emanating anger, crying about your situation, which is not just yours, it belongs to many. And many are turning around, and many are doing it. I already said this too, but it's always worth repeating. You have a problem, then you sit down and cry, complaining about the problem. Many have the same problem as you, and what do? Well, I have to do something, I have to fix this situation. And run after it, and manages to find a way to resolve it. But the vast majority don't. The vast majority sit and cry, and shouts against the universe, has anger. Get up and try to do something, don't even think about it. You'll sit there crying until someone passes by and takes pity, and then maybe they'll be able to help you, because they'll feel sorry for you. It's my brothers, the lesson is for everyone, it's not for a minority, it's for everyone. Each one will receive it in a different way. The lesson is the same, but each person will receive according to what they are ready to receive. Each person will receive what they are about to overcome, like that obstacle where you will sit, crying, looking at it. Or are you going to get up, are you going to take the hammer, or are you going to take a sledgehammer and break that wall? Oh no, it's a lot of work, I will get tired. Oh no, I'm just going to sit here and cry. And it's your decision. Now the one who takes the sledgehammer, takes the hammer, and goes to knock down that wall, he is taking action, he is understanding that he has to do something. And the universe will help him find what he is looking for. Now sitting there crying, the universe will only give you back more suffering, more of the same. So my brothers, the lesson is there in front of each of you. You just need to understand and go through it. This is the moment, no further ahead. Remember, the event can happen at any time. So don't leave until tomorrow what you can solve today, learn your lesson today, not tomorrow. Tomorrow may be late. So chase the lessons, chase the solution to your lessons. Sitting and crying is not a solution. Wanting them to feel sorry for you is not a solution. Think about it. Once again I want to remind you of our meditation tomorrow at 11:45 p.m. We will be ready at 11:30 p.m., so everyone can enter calmly. As I said yesterday, it will be a big open space, where you will sit and watch the show. So arrive calmly, find your seats, so that at the right time, everyone is seated and tidy. So we will start our broadcast at 11:30 p.m., tomorrow, April 4th. I am Archangel Michael. And I have tried here, every day, to shake each one of you. You may even be angry with me, I don't care, my love for you remains the same. That's exactly what I want a response, even if it's anger, but I want a response, not submission, not accommodation.